Hi, in this session I'm going to tell you how to make your 3D character using different tools, like for example using AI or character creation softwares or browsing from the internet. But also animate them here. And you don't really need to know anything about modeling in order to make them. So there are different ways that you can make your 3D characters. First of them is that you go to Meshy.ai, and here, for example, I made this with this prompt. Um, at first you go to new model. If you have a picture, you post it here. But you can also use a text to 3Ds and describe the model that you want. For example, I say create a handsome male elf for RPG game with long blonde hair and pointy ears, and it's very important, say in neutral pose or T pose, okay? And then it generated four models, and I, for example, select this and say confirm. But look at this, these are very bad models. They have something in their hand, and it will be very hard later that you go to Mixamo and, for example, to animate them, because we want that nothing would be in their hand. So, and also the cape or the rope behind the character is very, very wide, and it also causes problems unless that you go to Blender and make it narrow. But as I wanted my enemy to be orc, these are good models. They are, for example, I say create an orc warrior with heavy armor in neutral pose or T pose, okay, and they are symmetrical. And there is a website, a Sketchfab, that you can find good models. For example, go to all categories and go to character and creators. And for example, select downloadable, and even you can, select animated one. And it gives you, for example, some options that, for example, if you game a medieval game, you could bring something that would be suitable for that. For example, this has a gun, and this is not good for medieval game. Something with a sword, and preferably in T pose, so you can animate them better, as I told you in the previous one. And remember that with this approach, you might have, for example, select something that is not famous. Otherwise, people know that you have, for example, uh, brought other models into your game. For example, don't bring Witcher to your game. Something that is not relatable to anything. So, yes, and especially using for enemy. But for your main character, it's better that you select something that you know that is very special to you. Because yes, you see, okay, I love this, but hundreds, hundreds and thousands of developers come here and select these things, and they bring it into their games, so they're kind of repetitive. Unless that you want to give them a small role, or that you want to change them drastically, for example, changing the texture and different things, okay? So that was one approach. Another approach for making your characters is that you use some softwares like Poser Pro that are special for character creation, or Daza Studio, or Character Creator. For example, here, there's a library of different characters, and they have some cloth themselves, they have hair. For example, for this model, which is this, I give them this hair, and that is highly customizable. For example, I can make it long, something like that. Or you can bring armors and different things from other um, 3D models and bringing them into your game. So let me show you. For example, this is a model. Remember her. I made another character just from her, and I'll show you in one moment. And now the same character has changed to this. And it's a demoness with the because there are some different options that you can, for example, go to fitting room and bring a cloth into your project and fit to her. You can change her face, the color, and also even the feet. Even the feet are a kind of a horse shape foot that is for demoness, something like that. And you can export that and animate it. If you want to explicitly learn how to make your character with Poser Pro, then tell me in the comments so that I will introduce you to that software and how you can make your own characters in that. So imagine that this is my main character and I want to download it. And go here and say download. You can either choose FBX or OBJ, there's no difference. Okay, as you extract that, you have this file, a texture and the FBX file. Now go to mixamo.com and say, okay, the upload character, and drag and drop your model there. Okay, when this is imported and this is in an acceptable format, this will appear. And go, okay, and say, this is for the chin, this is for the wrists, and this is for the elbow. I think something like this. And this is for the knees and the groin. And here, you know, there's some, for example, this would make every individual fingers for every one of them creates a skeleton. But for example, this and this, I think that this is better. And okay, use symmetry and wait until that it is doing its rigging. Okay, now it has finished and go next. And for example, I select idle. Okay, this is the idle shape. If you think that it is weird and have been stretched, you can go to Blender and do something about it. For example, let me show you. So open your Blender and bring your character there. And I bring it up. Okay, I set the origin, and then here you see this thing is, for example, causing problem for your animation. You can go here and go to edit mode, and for example select some of these things, you know and press delete. For example, the vertices, the face. Okay, let's make it a little bit shorter. Oh, what's that? Or you can make it narrower. There are different ways to fix that, but the thing that quickly does the job, I think that this is. Okay. And make it neat, do this neatly so it wouldn't cause problem later. Okay, this is it. And also, let me see the back. There's some bad stretches here. Make sure that they're not attached to the foot. The cape is not attached to the foot. Remove some of them here and then go and export your file either as OBJ or FBX. Okay, I think the problem for the back is fixed. And here it is better. Yeah, so let's go and select the idol. Okay, now imagine that this is your idle position. The hands are too much into the body, so go there and create some space. And then download that. Okay, FX for Unity. And one of your models should be with the skin. It means that with the character itself. And the other ones, we say without the skin, it means that only with the animation. So you need a character that is rigged. So always make one of them with the skin. But okay, imagine that. Go to run animation, slow run, in place, and something like that, and download it. Now I say without skin, just need animation. I already have the rigged model. Copy and paste those animations into a folder called player, and I also brought the texture. And I don't need the original file. It was this or this. I don't need them because I want the one that is rigged. Drag and drop this model here, and I give him the texture. Just drag and drop. So here he is. Okay. Now I make another folder and call it elf holder. So I give all the codes here and only the animation goes there because I don't want to directly uh, give the animation things to this. And in 2D game, do you remember the project? We didn't give any code to that and we just give it to this. But now we just give the animation to that and give all the other codes for moving and different things to this one, to this holder. And we have the same structure for the enemies as well. So now let's go here and go to animation and create the animation and go here art and make the animation for the player. Can put it here. No, the animator and the controller has been made. Go to animator, we don't need that. So here, let me bring the animator here and drag and drop all of them there. I always give this one here, the run and walk to here, and other things here. So you know which part is related to which part. And now we go to the idle. Oh no, just click on that and go to rig, animation type. It is humanoid. And say create from this model and hit apply. Okay, now as you open that, this avatar has been created. Now select all of the other animations, go to rig, generic humanoid, but here, instead of that, say from other avatar, which is this avatar, drag and drop it here and hit apply. Now go here on the animator avatar, give it that. Now we have done a huge part. Now here, go to animation for the idol. We want that it will be looped. And always check them to check all of them for all of your animations and hit apply. For the running, yes, it is looped, but for the attack, it is not looped. Just do this. And if you don't do that, your animation would be weird. So remember all of the time you correct these things. Just for the looping thing, like walking, an idle, or running, select this. But for 3 years, like attack, cast a spell, do not detect them. But the other things are the same. So I do the rest of them and then I return to you. Our character has these animations. We want to give him a sword as well. And in Meshy.ai, I have made some sword and I export them here. For the sword, just say, okay, make sword, for example, legendary sword, and just and tell, for example, the color and different things. Or you can go to Sketchfab and type sword. And you have this. You can bring them into your project. Okay, about 3 swords. You might say, why 3? Because later we're going to add inventory system and we want different sword with different attack rates. So I call it props and put them there. Okay. First of them is this. And I give the texture, adjust the size. I think that it is good. Okay, now how to give to your player. Okay, open the elf idol, go to Mixamo rig. You have different things here. Go to a spine, open that. Okay, this is for the left hand and right hand. Now go to right hand, right arm, right forearm, and right hand. And then give your sword to this. Now it is a child of that. And whenever your right hand goes there, here, then the sword goes there as well. Let me unpack that. And now, okay, give it 0, 0, 0, and adjust that. For example, the handle would be inside his hand. The hand is weird because the model was weird. You can make better models and by trial and error to see which one works. But we assume like, hey, that it is. But not all of the Meshy.ai models are that bad. Actually, this is the first time that I see something like that. Okay, now go there. And now test that. For example, in the animation, this is the idol. Okay, that's good. Do the exact same thing also for your enemies. Bring them into Mixamo, give them different animation, bring them into your project, give them a sword or axe or any type of things, sorting, weapon that you want to add them. I've brought the enemies here and I also have animated them. Running this, which is the get hurt. Or this great sword. I try to select different animations for them. For example, this has just one hand, two-handed, and also he's a shaman that would uh, bring the projectile. For example, something like this. And now, okay, we have them. First, we don't have anything to do with them, and you want to focus on our character. And from next session, for example, working on the movement code and attacking and different things. I forgot to say you that another source that you can bring the 3D characters is the Unity store itself. And go to 3D characters. And yeah, for some of them you have to pay money. For example, this is a complete package that has different animations. But you can set the price for free. And there are some free characters that you can customize for yourself. For example, here you can change this mace with a sword, or change the material, like changing the color, giving another shield. For example, this one, you can check that. Okay, this is compatible with different pipelines. And it says you, for example, this has this materials, this has this, for example, idle animation, walk, attack. You can also use these things and import them to your game. And as it is animated, and you only need to, for example, you open your model and there is something like this, and you can use that. I hope that you have the best moments. See you soon. Bye bye.